Cassette tapes buried in the desert. Another one, let's have a look at that. This one looks in pretty bad shape. Maybe we gotta see if we can tape this thing back together and revive it and see if it'll play. Rockhopper here, and if you watched my videos before, you know that I come across a lot of abandoned places and I find a lot of abandoned old stuff out in the desert and elsewhere. And I found some interesting things here, and I'm going to share those with you. While exploring the Arizona desert, I happened upon a bonanza of discards, everything from a giant RV to what looked to be a trailer and all sorts of smaller items. Looks like someone made a makeshift stairway right here, going down this hill. Let's see where it goes. Well, no surprise, it looks like it goes to something abandoned up on that little hill there. There's the rest of the stairway there, we'll go up that. Yeah. Abandoned stuff. Have a look at what we've got going on here. We've got an abandoned RV, we've got an abandoned trailer over there, a dumpster in the back, and who knows what else. There's a dumpster full of stuff, and somebody just left the dumpster dumped here in the desert. What's in this thing? You got some bowls, water bottles, old mugs, cans, VCR tapes. Yeah, I don't think those are gonna play too well. What else we got over here? Let's see. A piece of a stereo speaker. And hey, look at that. Swordfish. Yeah, this tape has, VCR tape has melted. Literally just melted here in the desert. Past the dumpster, there's something back here. Let's see what's inside or what this thing might have been. Well, that makes sense. You got your little outhouse here, and that's a pretty primitive looking little outhouse. It's just a piece of styrofoam with a hole cut into it. It's an ice chest. It's a styrofoam ice chest that somebody was using for basically a toilet seat. Yeah, and there's the lid back there. Yeah, I guess, you know, when you're done, you just take the lid and put it down, huh? Yeah, rustic. Oh, look at that. Notice, wash your hands before leaving. Paper towel dispenser right there. And another little paper towel holder right down there. You know, maybe that's what they were using for toilet paper. Yeah, it might be a little rough, huh? Here's the rest of it. Now that's a redneck outhouse if I ever seen one. Hey Jimbo, don't forget to close the lid when you're done. And don't pee on the floor. We got standards around here, you know. This place is definitely in the dumpster, and it's also headed for the crapper. That looks like a pretty solid mug. Yeah, that's got some weight to it. Heshisheschloenbier. I don't know if I said that right, but yeah, it's a pretty sturdy ceramic mug right there. Can you feel the burn? Looks like this was once part of the grill on a stovetop. Modern day archaeological treasures out here. Not exactly King Tut, more like King Butt. I didn't know RVs came in convertible style. This gives new meaning to driving with the top down. An old pack of CDs, is there anything in there? Oh, wow, there are some CDs, but they look like they're all stuck together, and they're all melted together, I think. There's no way those things are ever going to play. This looks like a butterfly hinge. This thing could actually be very old, like early 1900s, or it could be maybe reproduction. I knew I was in a time warp coming out here. Nice little homemade touch there. Somebody painted some trees on the side of that trailer right there. I guess what it was, it's just a really old camper top for the back. Goes on a pickup truck. Let's see what's inside this old trailer here. Looks like that's some, yeah, metal, aluminum probably. Go have a look. And what do we get? What do we have? And not a lot, huh? Just a bunch of junk, old papers, can of Vienna sausage that somebody was eating there, some sprinkler head and a cup or something there. What else is in here? Pieces of electronics, a lot of papers. Yeah, this looks like the weather has gotten to this place. So not a lot in here, just some papers. And there's an old Sharpie pen right there. Cans. Old paint roller. Another paint sponge brush there. Another roller there. And close this place back up and see what else we can find around this joint. How does this place measure up so far? Let's have a look over at this. What looks to be was maybe a camper top at one time. Some old books here. What do we have? Voyage to the City of the Dead. Okay, what else do we have? Looks like science fiction maybe around this place. Starbridge. Yeah, that definitely looks like some science fiction. What else is here? Inherit the Stars. And several other books around here as well. Let's see how old this book is. Inherit the Stars by James P. Hogan. And this book is from 1977. So how old is this book anyway? Let's see here. 1955. I can tell from the corner of this book that this is going to be a Trekkie kind of book. Oh yeah, there you go, Trekkie fans. Star Trek, The Lost Years. Some kind of VCR tape here. What do we have? Oh, Fantasia 2000. Okay, Walt Disney. Looks like some old cassette tapes here. And a few more down through here along with VCR tapes. And some spices back in there in the cupboard still. And this place has probably been abandoned for 25-30 years. Hey, there you go, Winnie the Pooh. Another Disney type thing. Cassette tapes buried in the desert. Audio cassette tapes. The chances of trying to restore something like that is fairly slim. It's not impossible, but I don't want to wreck my cassette player in the car trying to play these tapes. Here's a couple of old cassette tapes. Now these ones look pretty badly sun-beaten and deteriorated. I don't think those would play. I mean, there's a possibility they could. However, they've pretty much split and melted. And, I think we'll try and see if we can find something else around here. There's another one. Let's have a look at that. What's that got on it? It says, 1988. So that doesn't mean they've been out here since 1988, but cassettes were being replaced by CDs around 2000. So it's probably been out here 20 some years. I've got an idea. I have a cassette player along with a CD player in my car, and we could probably clean these up a bit and see if they still play after being in the desert for probably 25-30 years under extreme conditions like heat and cold and wind and rain and all the rest. So you think we can get this thing to play? We should try. Let's look around this place some more. Where did the rest of this RV end up? They say women like to spoon, but I've heard that men like to fork. An enamel cup. That thing's in good enough shape somebody could just clean it up and still use it. These things last forever. Looks like some curry powder down here, some spices. Well, that's... what do we have back here? Maxwell House coffee? You know what? A biologist told me that you can put coffee in your car and it keeps the mice and rats away because they can't stand the smell. So maybe I'll take this along. And look, there's some more cassette tapes here. What's this one? Mott the Hoople? Can't say I'm familiar with that group. Greatest hits, huh? I didn't know they had any hits at all. Well, maybe we'll take this along and see if it plays. So how old is this Mott the Hoople thing? 1972, 73, 74. Okay, so early 70s vintage. Hey, if anybody out there is familiar with this group, let me know in the comments if it brings back any memories for you. What else do we have? Looks like artificial sweetener here. Calorie-free sugar substitute. Yeah, I think we'll pass on that one, huh? I see a couple more tapes down here. What is this one? This one looks in pretty bad shape. It's got its tape down there all busted up. This is Looks like Ray Stevens' greatest hits. Let's see if we can see the other side a little better. Yeah, Ray Stevens' greatest hits. The Streak and some other songs here. Oh, look at that. The Mississippi Squirrel Revival. Well, that's kind of intriguing. Maybe we gotta see if we can tape this thing back together and revive it and see if it'll play. Wouldn't that be an interesting challenge? Let's see if we can revive these tapes enough that they'll play again. I don't know what the chances are, but we'll give it a shot. There's an old CD there. Yeah, I've tried playing CDs that were only out in the desert for a couple or 3 years, maybe not even that long, and they wouldn't play at all. Digital stuff just deteriorates very quickly. Let's see what this CD is anyway, or was. Looks like Backstreet Boys. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it says. Backstreet Boys. We could take it along just for fun and see if we could clean it up and play it. You never know. But I really kind of doubt the CD's going to work. Who knows about those tapes? Let's start cleaning things up here. Get this CD cleaned. We're going to have to do a little bit better than that. Yeah, it's got quite a bit of dirt and dust all over it from the desert. Get a wet cloth and clean the rest of that out. We'll take a wet cloth and get the dust and dirt off of there. Clean it up a little more, and maybe, just maybe, this thing will play in the CD player in my car. We'll find out, I guess. One Backstreet Boys CD ready to play. Let's load up the Backstreet Boys and see if it plays. Wow, it's actually playing. Let's go fast forward a little bit here. That's a familiar song. Heard that one on the radio, still do. Wow, it's actually playing. That is amazing. Hasn't even skipped or anything. Alright, that played. Let's try another track. Well, it still plays. I think being half buried in the desert actually helped preserve and protect it. I think this one was almost fully buried. Yeah, I was not expecting that. Wow, amazing. Well, overall, it does seem to play most of the songs, most of the time, which is amazing. I wasn't expecting that, because the CDs I've played in the past have usually been really bad and don't play hardly any songs on them if they've been out in the desert for any amount of time. Now that we've tried the CD, let's try the cassette tapes. We got 3 tapes, one of them in really bad condition. We'll see if we can renovate it. We'll see how many of these tapes play, if any of them at all. Let's get Mott the Hoople tape cleaned off a bit here. I think this one has the best chance of playing because it is inside of a case. However, it is kind of dirty, as you can see, so let's get some of that dirt and grime all off of there and clean it up a bit, and well, we'll see what happens. I don't know if it'll play at all, because once I start playing it, the tape itself could actually just snap and break. We'll see what happens. Remember, this thing's been baking under the hot desert sun for probably 25 years. Let's go ahead and rewind this a couple times. Okay, we hit fast forward, so we're gonna do that. Should wind it up nice and tight, and then we'll see if we can play it. We got it on play. Let's see what we've got here. Mott the Hoople. Anything? Okay, little scratchy sounding, but it plays. Oh my gosh, it actually plays. 25 years sitting out in the desert, practically melting, and it still plays. Not the greatest sound, but I mean, just the fact that it plays at all is quite amazing. Let's try the other side. Here we go. Okay, that sound is not great, but again, it actually works. This side sounds worse. Here's a different song. Let's try the other side. Actually, this one doesn't sound too bad. So the Mott the Hoople tape actually played. I mean, considering it's been out in the desert for that long, under the conditions it's been in, that's amazing this thing still works. This tape right here says, you know, it's from 1974. I mean, it's an old tape to begin with, let alone being out in the desert for that amount of time. Let's try the next one. Okay, Mott, back you go. Maybe somebody else will find you someday. Next up, I cleaned this Patty Loveless tape up pretty well, so let's give it a try. Wow, that's actually pretty good. I'm surprised how good that is. This tape was half buried in the desert. Alright, let's try another one. Let's try the other side and see how that sounds. Too bad. All things considered, actually pretty darn good. Alright. This came out in 1987. Well, say goodbye to that part of the tape. There's going to be a little gap in it. So the first thing we got to do is break into the case. And just go along and open it up like that, because it's sealed. And now we can open up the tape. I got the tape wound tightly around those little spools there. So I'm going to put the cover back on, and then I'm going to snip the ends of the tape, get a piece of tape and tape them together, and hopefully it'll play. Trim those ends off. Now that the ends of these are even, just take a piece, slice a piece of tape here, and then we'll just attach those two ends there with a piece of tape. And then we'll tape the other side to it, just like that. Tape the case back up so it doesn't open up. I don't know if you can see that, but I got it taped right there. So I'll rewind it and see if it plays. Let's rewind. Ray Stevens. I seem to have a vague recollection of this guy. I think he was like a country singer that sang humorous songs. The tape was having some problems initially, but I think I fixed it. It was getting stuck and not really fast forwarding or rewinding. But I manually rewound it a bit, and I think I got it past the bad spot, and I think it's okay now. Let's see what we have with Ray Stevens here. What? Well, that doesn't sound too good. Let's try that again. That sounded like Mickey Mouse on steroids. Let's try it again. I put a little piece of toilet paper in there, wadded up. Let's see if it makes any difference. Well, it plays. Well, yeah, he's a humorous singer, all right. Let's try another song. Let's try the Mississippi Squirrel Revival.
Well, when I was a kid, I'd take a trip every summer down to Mississippi to visit my granny and her antebellum world. I'd run barefooted all day long, climbing trees, free as a song. One day I happened to catch myself a squirrel. Well, I stuffed him down in an old shoebox and punched a couple holes in the top. When Sunday came, I snuck him into church. I was sitting way back in the very last pew, showing him to my good buddy Hugh, when that squirrel got loose and went totally berserk. Well, what happened next is hard to tell. Some thought it was heaven, others thought it was hell, but the fact that something was among us was plain to see. As the choir sang, I surrender all, the squirrel ran up Hard Newland's coveralls, and Hard leaped to his feet and said, "Something's got a hold on me." Yeah! The day the squirrel went berserk in the First Baptist Church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It was a fight for survival that folk got in revival. They were jumping pews and shouting hallelujah.
Well, that actually sounds pretty good, and he is a humorous singer. Alright, well that's, that tape actually worked too, so that is amazing. Can't believe it, the tapes played after being buried in the desert for 25 years. What can you say to that? That is just incredible. One last one, and see how that sounds.
Look, at the opening is too late. She'd already been in the singers. He comes. Boogie-dad, boogie-dad. There he goes. Boogie-dad, boogie-dad. And he ain't wearing no clothes. What is they call him the street? Boogie-dad, boogie-dad. Fastest thing.
Okay, this side doesn't sound as good.
He just as proud.
Sounds kind of coming in and out.
What is they call him the street? Boogie-dad, boogie-dad. He likes to show off his physique. Boogie-dad, boogie-dad. If there's an audience to be
But it does play.
The
Streak. Ray Stevens. 25 years baking out in the hot desert sun and the rain and all the elements, and they still play. Have a seat, but I don't think you're going to want to bed down here. What's that? Looks like a gasoline gauge. Yeah. This place has been running on empty for a long, long time. What part of living out here seemed like a good idea to these people? What brought them here, and how long did they last, I wonder? I hope you enjoyed exploring this old abandoned place and trying out those cassette tapes just for fun with me. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like on the video, share, and subscribe. And you've got to wonder, what brings people to a place like this to begin with? Until next time, this is Rockhopper. I'll see ya.